Hello and welcome to Always with Awareness. I'm Awa Ladmel.
And I'm Douglas Ladmel. And today we want to talk about breakthroughs and kind of what to expect and how to manage when you're having your own breakthroughs as you're doing your self-work. Because that's really what we're talking about in this show all the time is our own work, right? How do we do our work? And inevitably, fortunately, we have breakthroughs, which means we have moments where we get to see a glimpse. And so Ken Wilber likes to put this in terms of states and stages. So Ken Wilber is an American philosopher. He's still alive today. He's incredible, and he wrote basically integral philosophy, and he has an integral theory where you have lines of development, and then you have stages of development. But there's also states. And so it's really a distinction between the state and the stage.
That's right.
So you can have a state experience that pops you into the next stage of development and kind of gives you a preview of it. But then you pop back down.
That's right.
And so we actually see this happen quite a bit because we have a lot of people that we interact with and that we are always in this conversation. We're never really not in this conversation. I mean, everybody who knows us, they're either like, these people, like, they're not really good to hang out with because all they want to do is talk about, their growth and the development, or they love hanging out with us because they're inspired and they want to talk about their growth and development. A lot of times we'll have people that are inspired and we do talk about it, and I'll watch them pop into another state experience. And they'll get stuff and they'll see it.
That's right.
And it'll start to unlock. And then inevitably, we kind of see a snapback almost.
That's right.
Almost like got scared of what they saw. So why don't you talk about that and kind of your perception of what's happening when somebody kind of gets a breakthrough moment and then kind of has to wake up the next morning and go, oh shit, what do I do with that information?
Well, first of all, I'm going to share that you said earlier we talk about our work, which we don't talk about it as work.
Yeah,
it's just who
just
we
life.
are.
Yeah,
it's just life. I mean, there's so many ways to express yourself, but culture has a lot to play with that because I am from Senegal, West Africa. I can't talk for all Senegalese, but definitely in my family, we like almost born philosophers, right? Yeah. We always debate in my home. So everything is just a way of communicating and debating deeper and deeper and deeper to find a common ground. So I am very comfortable with people having different opinions. So in here in America, in my space, even the hello is deep.
Hello, oh, you're deep.
Even the how are you today is deep. So I'm like, deep? Why am I deep? But I just realize that it's just cultural. People just do not communicate. Communication is just like, let's talk about the weather. Let's not talk about really how I feel. Let's not talk about really my emotions. Let's not share how I want to kill somebody, but I won't do it. But is this okay? And we see that that's why I believe there is a lot of mental illness. When you say mental illness, it's just a lack of communicating exactly how you feel. So it's just a repress emotions. So how do I know? Because I myself went through it. Not that I was mentally ill, but I know what is it to feel depressed, and I know most of us do know. But when people express finally, or maybe do not express themselves, but are next to somebody who does it so well that they see themselves, all of a sudden you have a connection.
Right.
But what makes them go back is that they feel that it wasn't theirs. That you are there with them, that's why they went there. And I am saying, please own it, damn it. If you can get it, is because you are it. It's not my truth. I might be the one that just in that space, because I allowed the space to be, that you can finally have a breakthrough. But I don't own your breakthroughs.
Wow. That's really interesting because you've never said that before. It's the first time you've said that, yes. This is why we're doing this, because we actually figure shit out when we're talking with you guys that we never really have to think about before, because we talk about it. But you're right. It's so we see these breakthroughs happening in this moment of communication, usually with you and me, yes. with somebody who goes a place that they're not used to going, maybe never have gone before. They get something big, and then we see them again, and it's almost like they're running for the door. They're running away from us. Oh my God,
because they don't own it.
Yeah.
And I want to just choke you at that moment. Really. Because then you're looking at me and say, oh my God, it's you. It's not me. I just allowed the space for you to finally get there. That's what we do for one another. But if any time, and actually I'm going to just say the example. The other day, I'm in my barn, and come a friend who's taking care of my horses. And we had a little interaction. She went into her emotions. And most of the time, I can bet you, if that happened with anybody, the person would just back up and say, I'm sorry, and leave. It wasn't for me to do that, because I can tell that this is not me breaking down, so I don't have to run away from the space. So I stood for her, and I stood for myself. And at the end, what happened? A total meltdown, breakthrough for herself. And you asked me, you said, oh, but we used to those. Watch out. Most of the time, they come back and really don't be afraid if she come tomorrow and say, I am moving from this barn. And I said, you know what? It is time for us to talk about this. Yeah. You know, and it's very important to understand. Universe is giving you, with every interaction, your opportunity of breakthroughs. It's like a miracle. Breakthroughs is just like miracles. Always, always on. But they don't belong to nobody but you. I cannot take for how you felt, the knowledge you got, the wisdom you rise to. We cannot own it. No one does. So when those things happen to you and you don't grab it, and unless you just fluff it and make it about the guru or God or whoever, you losing your own power, your own strength, your own wisdom, and how long can you do that? But if any breakthroughs, you own them, you step up from it. And it doesn't matter if it's from a child, your younger sister, a woman, a black woman, a bitch, a prostitute. You don't know. You don't know who's going to bring you to that space. But once you get it, please own it. It's yours.
Yeah.
So we are living a life where people are like, when am I going to get it? Well, you can get it anytime. Anytime, literally.
No, it's now. And when you do get it, it will be now.
Exactly.
It will only be now. You can't, if you think it's tomorrow that you're going to get it, believe me,
then it will be tomorrow.
Which will never come, because there's only ever now. And you're right. This is it. This is for us.
Exactly.
And if we can't take what we're getting and have these moments, you're praying for that moment of breakthrough. You're praying when you get into that space where all of a sudden something magical happens, yes, and the energy rises and you break down and you see something about yourself that can affect your life, that can change and open up and free you.
That's right.
The last thing you want to do is go, oh, that was them. That was somebody else. That wasn't for me. That wasn't mine. I didn't own it. And believe me, your ego wants to do exactly that. Exactly. Which is why I say every time it happens, I'm like, watch, the ego is going to come back and go, oh, she's too much. She's over the top. Blaming, pushing. It wasn't me. It was her. She took me there. I want to go back into my shell and protect myself.
That's right.
But you're not getting anything. You're not moving.
Everything is happening because you had a breakthrough. Breakthroughs are magic. Breakthrough is universe finally meeting you where you are, your real you. You know, that's why you want to cry, and that's why you reveal more than you thought you would reveal. I'm not saying it's easy, but to not own it will make you just step backwards, where you keep on doing the same work over and over and over again. So if you hear me now and you're having one, don't blame it on me. It's your own understanding of exactly what's happening right now. It's your connection with your own self within you, a space that you've never been, that you reach finally right now. We are just, but either way, we're not even witnessing it. Nobody can. And that's why that book, whatever book you read, and you get there and you understood it like you were that person. Well, in that moment, you are that person. In that moment, you are that Jesus. In that moment, you are Einstein. In that moment, you are that successful person. And you cannot give it back without knowing that you understood them. You rise up to their degree. Own it. Now, this is the thing. I think most of us are so locked in our intellect, and we think the only way to get something is intellectually. Oh, we're wrong. There is so many ways to get to that space of knowing yourself. It's not, if anything, the intellect might make it slower. But your emotions are even stronger, deeper than your intellect. If your emotions that are storing your story are breaking loose, that's where the juice is, not your intellect. But if you reverse back to the intellect, that's it, you lost it. The intellect is not made for that. The intellect is like a knife, it's just for cutting. It will tell you, go here, don't go here, don't go here. Cut here, and you want it very dull, it's the tool. But your emotions are stored in this body, and you cannot live this life without this body. It's like saying, my house is clean when your closet is full, your refrigerator is full of food that are there for decades, and you just keep on mopping the floor. Yes, for the outside people, you look amazing. It's like the intellect. For the outside, we can all fool each other intellectually. But inside your home, in your emotions, when you're having that breakthrough, I know you cannot fake that.
You're never going to have a breakthrough without an emotion attached to it.
That's right.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
You can have an intellectual breakthrough, but it will trigger an emotion. I promise you. You know it. You know every breakthrough in your life, you can go back to the emotion that accompanied it.
That's right.
So it's the emotion you have to get to. You have to get to the emotion. You have to get into the body. It will come to you in the body. This is the contribution of Buddha to our spiritual traditions of this world. He realized that you cannot do it without the body. That was the whole point. When you learn to meditate Vipassana, you learn that it's the body that unlocks it. So there's a certain way in which you hold that body still to let everything rise so that you can get to it. It's what you're talking about. If you think you can just intellectualize your way through your own growth and development, you're just going to end up in a loop that just keeps running in circles, and you're not going to get anywhere.
That's right. And why would we do it? That's a question to ask.
Why
would anybody want to be interested in doing any work of cleaning themselves?
Yeah, it's a great question. Why would you?
Why would you? I know why I'm doing mine. You must know why you're doing yours, but why would you?
Well, I can share why I'm doing mine. Because when I do my work and I get to an emotion like anger or guilt or resentment or fear that has been holding me back, and I unlock it and resolve it, all of a sudden a whole new space in my world opens up. All of a sudden I have a whole new terrain in which I can explore. I am literally, it's like a game that my son plays where I'm like, what's this area? And he's like, this is the expansion pack. I got through and it opened up a new land. That's what happens. And if you're happy in the world that you're in, if you've got it and you're totally comfortable, that's fine. Then you probably don't need to do this work. It's not your time to do it. But if you're not happy, if you feel constrained inside of the world that you're living in, and you'd like to open up new terrain that has been blocked by your fear, guilt, pain, suffering, judgment, right, wrong, all of that, well then yeah, you might want to consider doing this kind of work. And this kind of work is hard because you have to bring up the thing that you're most afraid of, which is the emotional
That's right.
thoughts of the things that you locked in there that are so big that you can't even think about going back down and getting to them. Yeah. But that's the work. And spoiler alert, they're not that big. It's like going back to your childhood home that you thought was so big. You go in there and you're like, oh my God, this is like a little shoebox. It's like a little dollhouse. I grew up in a dollhouse and I thought it was this mansion of because it's, when you're a kid, it's big. Now you're totally capable of doing it. You can go back down there and face all those demons that you locked away. They're nothing. They're really just in your mind.
Absolutely. You know, this mind can just make you believe that not only you're alone, but that people are tracking you. How many of you just think, how many of us think that, wow, people are always thinking about me or what they think of me? Nobody's thinking of you.
Right. Nobody's out there thinking of you. They're not thinking about you.
Absolutely. And you know what I tell my kids? I say, maybe me.
Yeah. Maybe me, your mom.
Maybe me, your mom. And now sometimes I even forget, like, what time is it? 4:00. Haven't called my son. It's not true. Nobody's thinking about you. Nobody's blaming you for anything. I mean, you will have to do a huge, really impact somebody in a very bad way, I think, for them to even give you a little bit of their thoughts every day. You have to know, we are survival. Everybody every day is just getting to survive their day. Most people are in survival mode. So don't worry about it. When you have those breakthroughs, own it. High five yourself, hug yourself, and keep it. Own it. It's not mine. It's no one's. When you read a book and you finally get it, it's yours. How many people read the same book, do not get it the way you're getting it? How many people are listening to us? It's not talking to them. It will never talk to them maybe, but it's talking to you. So own it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to say about breakthroughs. They're amazing.
No, they are amazing. And they are addictive. And you have to get to the first couple of them to start to trust that they're real. Exactly. And that the benefits are real. That's right. Real world benefits. Man, if you just start doing this work and you start freeing yourself, yes, it just opens up more work. I'm not going to lie to you. A little bit of work starts to open up a lot more work because you have a lot more terrain in which you can find more work. But it just gets easier and it just gets better. And your bottom, the place that is your lowest, just keeps raising up. Yeah. And what you're willing to accept as your rock bottom is now some people's top, right? You don't have to go down to the gutter to get to your rock bottom. Your whole point in life is to raise your bottom. You want your acceptable form of living, happiness, joy, interaction with other humans to be up. And you can only do that if you raise it for yourself.
Yeah. And you know, we all want to be successful, whatever that means but successful is not something you are. It's, if anything, it's people that decide if you are or not in their eyes.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that don't feel successful, that other people look at them and go, oh my God, they're so successful. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I have other people that feel very successful that you would look at and go, well, he's struggling. I mean, it's just,
Just
you
to
live in
say,
your feelings.
yeah.
Start focusing on them.
Focus on you. Focus on you. This whole thing that sold by us, that success is outside of who you are, that is going to happen when you have money, that you're going to be beautiful when you have this surgery, you're going to be skinny when you eat this food. I personally do not believe in all of that. I just believe in being present and seeing where the gold is. And it has worked for me. Because you know what? In the present, in the now, when finally those emotions, you get to communicate them and breakthroughs, I don't know anybody who wouldn't feel right there in that moment successful.
You feel successful. I remember I learned to play the drums as a child, and doing a drum roll, it's very hard. It's not simple. It doesn't just happen. You give a kid a pair of drumsticks and ask him to do it, he can't do it. The day I got it, I felt like the most successful, best musician ever on the planet because I could roll the drums. And that's the same with everything.
Yeah.
And you want to foster those successes, and you want to keep calling them up and use them. And tools are critical. And so go find the tools. They're everywhere. They're all around you. Find the tools, do the work, and get the benefit. And
that's right.
You will be shocked and overjoyed with what happens to your life.
And own them. You don't buy salt and somebody say, oh, can I have your salt? And you say, oh no, it's not mine, it's Morton's. No, it's your salt, it's in your house.
Yeah, Morton already sold it to you.
Exactly. So those breakthroughs, when you get them, they're yours. Own it and build from there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, I had a breakthrough.
You got a breakthrough?
Yeah, I'm owning it.
Oh, great. Own it, Daddy.
I'll tell you about it as soon as we get off.
Okay. Maybe that's going to be the title of the next show.
It might be. Yeah.
Well,
so
to be continued.
To be continued. So, well, as always, like, subscribe, send this to your friends, and comment to us, please. So, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.